I love it. I don't know. Can you love the vibe of a project? Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. This is a podcast primarily about knitting, though I do get up to other fiber-related topics from time to time. I am coming to you from Henderson, Nevada, which is a small suburb outside of Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. This is where I'm from and where I live with my husband Brandon, our 2.5-year-old son Ronan, our 6-year-old son Angus, and our big fat house cat Oscar. I am also the owner and dyer behind Fiber for the People yarn, and if you'd like to get in touch with me, the best place to be in the loop about all things Fiber for the People is to head over to Instagram and follow over at fiber.for.the.people. You can also get in touch with me via email. The email account associated with my business is contact@fiberforthepeople.com, and you can learn more about Fiber for the People yarn by heading over to the web shop, which is fiberforthepeople.com. All of these links, everything that you need to know in order to get in touch with me or to find out more about Fiber for the People and all things that I have going on are linked down below in the description box on top of everything that I'll be discussing here in this episode of the podcast. Welcome to episode 45 of the podcast. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back to hang out and spend some time with me. If you are a new viewer and subscriber, welcome and thank you for stopping by to check out this little corner of YouTube. A happy Sunday to everyone. I hope you all are well. And if there are viewers here that are in Texas and dealing with all of the rolling blackouts and the crazy weather that's going on over there, I'm sending out my warm and cozy vibes to you. I hope you are safe. I hope you are well. My brother actually lives in Dallas, and I know exactly what is going on over there. He and his family, they have 2 little girls similar in age to our boys, and they're dealing with that too. So I just want you to know I am thinking about you and sending thoughts and prayers your way. I have a lot to share with you guys today, including the amazing amount of progress I've been making on my Tulip jumper by Melody Hoffman. But first, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make Along 2021. You guys, we are going to be doing our first random prize drawing for the Make Along for the podcast. If you're not familiar with the Make Along that I'm talking about, it is the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make Along 2021. You can learn all about it over on the Ravelry page for the podcast, which I should mention, we have a Ravelry group. You can find it by heading over to Ravelry, searching in the groups tab, Wool Needles Hands, a knitting podcast, or Wool Needles Hands. Join over there. I have made the Make Along thread sticky, so it's up at the very top of our thread. You can read all about this Make Along. Honestly, whatever your craft is, you can join. It's very flexible, lots of fun categories to participate in, and you can get involved by participating in the chatter thread and popping your finished objects into the finished object thread. And that's it. Bob's your uncle. It's all good. I just want you to join in and participate in the camaraderie that we have going on around this knit along. Today, I'm going to be doing our first random prize drawing at the end of the episode, and I have a prize that I want to share with you guys today. This is a project bag by the lovely Trisha of Joy in the Stitches, and she makes the most beautifully made, beautifully designed project bags, and I'm really excited to be giving one away for the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make Along 2021. So this is it. It is a really cute little Red Riding Hood print. I love it. It's so beautifully made. I'm not going to unwrap it because I'd like to keep it just like this. But you know what we can do is get a little bit of a peek inside to see the fabric lining. She's included her business card, but I always love the lining that she chooses with her project bags and her fabrics. Oh gosh, yeah, this is no exception. Look at this. How cute is that? It's like a buffalo check lining. So this is going to be given away to a lucky winner drawn randomly from the finished object thread for the podcast Make Along. I'm going to be just heading over to the Ravelry page, the group, pulling up all the projects that are in the finished object thread and just pulling randomly from that. So we're going to do this at the end of the episode. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the finished objects and projects coming out of the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make Along 2021. So without further ado, roll the clip. There's some really cute things in there, you guys, and I'm loving the socks. There was a little cute pair of shorty socks and then a pair of Fair Isle slippers that I need to consider for my slippers and sippers segment, but lots of cute stuff. So definitely head over to the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make Along thread in the Ravelry group. Join so that I have more projects to share here on the podcast, and just get involved in our little community here. Welcome to the Slippers and Sippers segment of the podcast, one of my favorites and a new segment to the podcast. Today, I am sipping on an espresso drink, and I would like to tell you that it's a latte or a cappuccino or something, but I have no idea the proportions. I just know there's a double shot of espresso in there, and I steamed some milk and poured it on top, and it tastes delicious, and that's all that matters to me. But we are taking the kids out to play after I film the podcast, and I just want a little extra energy. So that's what's in my cup. And this is one of my favorite mugs. It's by Wild Blue Yonder, a little an illustration company. She's an illustrator, and she has her designs, she hand draws them and has them put onto these adorable camp mugs. It's kind of like an aluminum mug, and it's so cute. I love it. So this is her little sheepy design. They're all, they all incorporate sheep, I think, in some way. Get that a little closer so it focuses on the sheep. And yeah, they're super cute. Isn't that adorable? I will link to her shop down below in the description box, but definitely recommend looking her up because she makes just the cutest illustrations and puts them on the cutest mugs. And it's just, yeah, it's the perfect size for a little espresso drink or something like that. One of the things I want to share with you guys in this segment, because this is the slippers and sippers segment, I don't have slippers on today, and that's intentional. And I didn't knit any fresh slippers. In the last episode, I shared my Simple House slippers, which I had knit. But today I wanted to take a minute and give you an update on my Sunday socks. So I knit these. If you watched 3 episodes ago, I think now, I shared my Sunday socks with you. And this is a design by Petite Knit. And they're a very comfy, cozy, I'm going to put this on a sock blocker so I can share it with you. A very comfy, cozy, worsted weight house sock, I guess you could say. Maybe you could fit them into boots, but for me, they're just kind of like a house slipper sock. So when I shared these with you guys on the podcast, I shared with you that I knit them using 2 strands of single ply yarn held double. And the yarn that I used is Fiber for the People yarn in the Willow colorway on the Merino single base, which is a fingering weight base. So I held that double, and it got me close to a worsted weight. I think that the pattern calls for Aran weight. It might be Aran weight or just worsted, but it got me close. I think it was a little light. It was a little bit more like a heavy DK weight, but it worked. The socks fit beautifully. It worked. What we kind of were chatting about in the comment section of that particular episode was, and I even talk a little bit about it in the episode, was how the yarn is going to hold up considering it's a single ply construction. So I know there's the rule of not knitting anything that's going to be very hard wearing with single ply yarn. But if you know anything about me, I kind of don't, not that I don't listen to the rules. It's just that I understand the rule exists. I know why it exists. And so I feel like because I have that understanding, I can make an educated or a deliberate, I can break the rules because I understand the rules. Does that make sense? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I knit these using the Merino single, and I wanted to give you guys an update because a lot of folks were asking, like, for an update, keep us posted. How are they wearing? What have you done to, like, maintain them? And so I want to share that with you guys today. So I figured it was appropriate to do that here in the Slippers and Sippers segment. So I'm going to just pop this up in front of the camera so you can see before I tell you anything about it. It's a little, I've had it on, so it's kind of loose on my blocker. But here it is. This is the first that I'm going to show you right now of the Sunday socks. And I have it cuffed only because that's kind of the style that they show in the sample image. So there's my Sunday sock. Now let's get in a little bit on the fabric. Now this is a very light, pale colorway. It has mild variegation of grays and peaches and very pale gold and very light speckling. So it's very light intentionally. I don't know why I feel like that's important to tell you, but here, let's get in on the fabric so you can kind of get a closer look what's going on. But it has been washed in the washing machine and dried in my tumble dryer twice now and worn an awful lot. And I'm so happy with them. So if you really love a single ply yarn that you have and you really want to turn it into socks, holding it double to create a nice worsted or heavy DK weight sock is definitely an option. And I think it's holding up beautifully. And don't be afraid to throw them in the washing machine and the dryer in this particular case. And I am a purveyor of fine yarn, and I am totally okay telling you that. The dye job is beautiful still. It actually, by giving them a nice wash and dry, it kind of creates a really pretty cohesive fabric, meaning all the strands kind of, you know, there's a little bit of an agitation there, and though they're not felting or anything, it does feel like the fibers are coming together to create a little bit more of a cohesive fabric. So I don't know, all in all, I'm super happy with the way that they're holding up, and I really like that I chose to throw them in the washer and the dryer. So that is a status update on my Sunday socks by Petite Knit. I'm wearing them, so I'm going to pop this back on. Here's my other one, which, why not? You know what? I feel like I do this every single episode, so why not do it here? So here's the heel. There's the heel. There's the toe. Yeah, just so happy with the design, with the yarn, with the way that they're super like low maintenance. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. So definitely recommend this particular pattern, Sunday Socks by Petite Knit. So I'm realizing as I'm looking at my screen down here that I'm kind of wearing the same thing that my sofa is wearing. So it kind of just, I blend in to the sofa. So yeah, that's cool. I have so much progress to share with you guys on 2 projects in particular. Now, I was thinking I was going to talk about the ones I talked about in the previous episode and then kind of double back on a couple that I talked about in 2 episodes ago, but I'm not going to do that because I've been pretty, I don't know if the word is monogamous, but I've been working on these 2 projects, well, pretty monogamously since we spoke about them last. So why not just share my progress? Because I'm super proud of it. Oh, before I start though, this is a project bag by Trisha Wattenberger of Joy in the Stitches. I went on her Etsy shop because I was browsing through Instagram and I noticed that she popped an image up of one of her project bags that she had in stock. So I immediately went on her Etsy shop, bought a project bag. She got in touch with me, or I got in touch with her to let her know. I think I might have gotten in touch with Trisha to let her know, like, I love this project bag and I just purchased it. Thank you so much for your beautiful work, because she knows how much I love her work. It's beautiful. And she offered to send me the prize that I'm going to be giving away at the end of the episode. But you guys, like, this bag is so much more beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful in the photos, but it's even more beautiful in person. I just love it so much. And I actually have a project bag to share with you guys. I feel like I haven't shared a project bag with you guys since however many episodes ago, except for, of course, you know, Big Brown over here that holds pretty much everything. But this is my new project bag by Joy in the Stitches. Really pretty quilted kind of front here with this really fun gold glittery fabric on the bottom and her little logo on the side. And I love these. And you know what I love too? And Trisha, if you're watching, I love that you make this removable. And it's easily removable with like one of these little guys and not one of those like keychain rings. And I also like that it's a contrasting fabric. So I think that was a smart choice. Really pretty. All of the fabrics that she uses for her project bags are just so fun. And this is the back side. I love this particular print right here. Zipper, pouch, really nice, easy opens, smooth zipper, I guess I should say. And then look at this really pretty lavender colored or lilac colored fabric on the inside. You guys, how pretty is that? So living inside of my Joy in the Stitches project bag is my Habitation throw by Helen Stewart. I can't get enough of this, and that's okay because it is it's a throw, so it's going to take a little time to finish it. I don't know why I just stopped in the middle of a row. I am hoping something important had happened. But that's really obnoxious when that does happen. So what I'm going to do is just talk to you about this and knit through it, because now, do you guys ever, look at this. It's like you have to like reach through the cord, pull the ball through. There we are. Okay. Habitation throw. Helen Stewart started this about a month ago now, I think, and can only put it down to work on my Tulip jumper, which I'm loving also. But this is just such a great project. This is kind of my grab and go. We're going to, go pick up an order at Target. So we're going to have to wait in the car for a few minutes, kind of, I'm going to knit in the car type deal. Is anybody else doing that? We're all home, right? Like we're trying to avoid going anywhere unnecessary. And so we'll put in a Target order and then we throw the whole brood into the van and we drive a minivan and we drive up to Target and it's like an outing. So I always take something with me to work on. And this has been kind of like my go-to for that, or when we take the kids to the playground. Definitely a really great portable project, especially when you have a really cute project bag to put it in. Wink, wink. I'm really kind of annoyed at myself for allowing this to be left in this state of mid-row madness. And let's add some really cute quirky music and speed up the rate a little bit so that movie making magic means you don't have to sit through my whole knitting of this entire row. Okay, I think that I can talk and knit at the same time. So I'm almost done with this row and I'm going to show you. So this is a design that is intended to use Advent minis. And I don't have Advent minis, but I have an awful lot of mini skeins from my own yarn collection, Fiber for the People yarn, because I use them either for sampling or I actually just happen to have mini skeins that I've held on to from mini skein collections or kits or whatever. So I have a lot of that. I have a whole basket over there just full of samples of Fiber for the People yarn. And I wanted to use up some of those samples in a little mini skein project, or scrappy project, I guess you could say. And so when I saw this one, I just knew that was it. And I am so happy that I chose this for that, because it is such a therapeutic knit. It's cozy. It's a blanket, so it kind of serves its purpose while you're working on it. So the more you work on it, the more it serves its purpose, because it grows and kind of warms up your lap. And it's really cozy. And I think another reason why I really love this is because there's really no timeline to complete it. Whereas like when you're working on a garment, you kind of think, okay, well, I can't really use this until it's done. Whereas this, essentially it's the same. You can't really use it as a throw until it's off of your needles. But I feel like this is the kind of project that is the perfect process and product knit all together in one, because like I said, you can almost use it, you can have it serve its purpose even when it's not finished, because it just sits on your lap and keeps you nice and warm and cozy. Okay, let's make sure that I get to the end of this correctly. There we are. All right, we have made it to the end. I am now back in business. So, like I said, again, this is Fiber for the People yarn. All of this is fingering weight yarn. Somebody mentioned in the comment section on the last episode how I managed with all the different weights of yarn. This is all fingering weight yarn. However, they are different yarn bases. So some of this is my 2-ply, some of this is my single. There's some merino nylon 4-ply in there. So it's various in terms of color and in terms of yarn base, but in terms of weight, it's all fingering weight yarn, which is what the pattern calls for. So you're using fingering weight yarn with a really lovely size 6 needle, and that combination just, gosh, it sings when you work on it. It's just so beautiful and easygoing and relaxing. I love it. So here is, let's hold this out. It's growing. It's growing. It's amazing to me. So this is what I have so far of my Habitation throw. I'm going to let you get a little closer, but I kind of want to just hold it up for a bit and really just take it all in. Look at how pretty that is. All the colors coming together. Now, there's a recipe in the pattern for changing your colors, when to change your colors, how much yarn to use, when to begin decreasing to start, finishing the blanket. In terms of changing my colors, I'm kind of just I'm choosing my own adventure with this because all of my scraps, they're all varying in not weight, but in quantity. So I have some that are full skeins. I have some that are mini skeins. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of using like my eyes and coming up with the proportion. And a really good example of that kind of the freedom to just change when I want to is what you see here with this green, this kind of mossy green stripe that you see right here. I really loved that color, and I really loved the contrast between that color and the one before it, that blue and purple and yellow. But then when I started knitting this real pale color here, right there, which actually happens to be the same color as my Sunday socks that I'm wearing right now, I just felt like it was a very stark divide in these two colors. So I decided to take this, which is Willow, and start fading in this next colorway right here, which is Miss Harker, and I think it's really, really beautiful together. I'm really loving that. And then this new little sage green that I have going on there. So I am using that kind of, I don't know, proportion to decide when to change colors. And then also too, like a few of these I just ran out of. My Miss Harker, I just ran out of. The seashell color down here, I just ran out of. But this like golden color here, I didn't want to do too much of that. And then this, like I was saying. So yeah, kind of just doing it how I please, really, and enjoying every single stitch. My current color is this one here. It's kind of like a really pretty sage green color. So yes, Habitation throw, Helen Stewart, definitely recommend that. This is my next project. I love it so much. So this is my Tulip jumper. The design is by Melody Hoffman. I'm gonna just kind of hold it up here and let you see it. So this is what I have so far. It's kind of shadowy down at the bottom. So I'm gonna hold this up so you can see the tulip hem. Hold it to the light. I'm losing light, you guys. It's getting a little late in the evening, so, but love it. And I almost think that the light's actually working, so it shows the fabric really nicely. I haven't worked through a sweater this fast, I don't think ever. The Felix pullover, which I knit a couple years ago now, I think. One of my favorite designs, and I feel like I whipped through that so fast, but not nearly as fast as I'm knitting this. I really love this, and I'm not sure if it's the design, because I mean, in terms of design and construction, the Felix pullover, which is a top-down raglan with some really pretty eyelets on the raglan seams, I mean, they're very similar because this is a top-down raglan as well. But it's just something about it. I don't know. I just love it. I love the way I feel when I'm knitting it. The yarn feels so good in my hands. I love it. I don't know. Can you love the vibe of a project? Because maybe that's what it is when I'm sitting and working on this, it's just such a nice, like, rustic, enjoyable, relaxing vibe. Loving that. I am knitting this in a combination of two yarns. So I have here Fiber for the People yarn in a new colorway coming, and I don't have much left of this. I have to change my skeins, but this is Kid Mohair Silk by Fiber for the People. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you too much of the colorway with this. In a colorway that is coming to the shop soon, and I'm calling it Chocolate Cherry. No, excuse me, I'm calling it Cherry Chocolate. It's a really pretty rosy kind of gray brown. It's a rosy brown with a gray undertone, and I really love it. I know that what I have here is not doing it justice. But this is the yarn that I'm pairing it with, and this is by Hillesvåg, and it is called Tinda. It's a Norwegian yarn. It's DK weight, 2-ply construction, and it's made with Norwegian wool. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully rustic. It has a really lovely color because the natural color of the wool is kind of a grayish brown color. You know, I kind of think that if I saw the wool, it would almost be just a little lighter than this naturally, minus like the rosy tones. And so that's why I think these two pair so well together. And you know what? I'm going to go get the skein of that Kid Mohair because I really want you to see that color in all its glory if you haven't watched previous episodes of the podcast. So just hang tight. And we're back. Okay, so I have here a skein of the Fiber for the People Kid Mohair Silk in that cherry chocolate colorway. And you can see it's really beautiful. It definitely has a little bit of gray undertone to it and a little bit of that rosy kind of mauve undertone as well. Definitely love this. And I feel like because of the natural color of the Hillesvåg yarn, even though that it's been dyed this really pretty purple, I think that natural undertone and these just go together really well, because of that. And so it's making for a really beautiful play date of yarns. I've been calling, it's something that I do like just in my mind when I start thinking about projects, and because I'm pairing this Hillesvåg yarn with my own Fiber for the People yarn, I'm calling it a play date project because my yarn is playing around with another yarn. I typically knit, I don't want to say I exclusively knit in Fiber for the People yarn because that's ridiculous. There are so many beautiful yarns out there. But most of the time I knit in my own yarn because it's readily available to me and I love it. But I love to try other kind of types of yarns that have various qualities to them from various different regions of the world, from various different breeds of sheep. And so that's why I was really excited about this, and to kind of pair it with my own yarn. It's a really cool, like I said, like play date project. But let's talk for a minute about this scalloped hemline. I think paired with the very classic lines of this top-down raglan, it's really special. Now, the process of knitting this, Melody provides in the pattern a link to a tutorial. Highly recommend just popping that thing on and repeating it when you're working through the scalloped hemline. Of course, you may get to this point and just know exactly what you're supposed to do and just whip right through it, but that wasn't the case for me. It took me 3 or 4 times. The first time I did it without the tutorial because I just assumed it would be fine, but then that didn't work. And so then I watched the tutorial and it took me like 3 times going back until I finally, and I had to, tink back, knit, tink back, knit, tink back, until I got the proportions or, just everything lining up correctly. So it is not one of those things that you're going to get to and just, wing it and know exactly what to do in most cases. So just know when you go into this, that when you get down to that hemline, pause, reset, check the tutorial, make sure you know exactly what's going on, and then start. Save yourself the hassle of having to like knit back a whole bunch of times. Now, that is not to say that I do not recommend that pattern. Actually, on the contrary, I love this pattern and I love that it has that element, because you could very easily just knit this design, get down to the hemline and just say, you know what, I just want a really nice top-down raglan. I'm just going to do a straight hem and not even bother. But I love the added element of a little bit of a challenge, a new technique, something special, something that makes not only the product special and unique, but also the process special and unique. So I love that about this design. And I applaud Melody for kind of providing us with a really cool, and I'm not saying she's the first person that's done a scallop hemline, but it's the first I've seen, and I just think it's cool to add something like that to an otherwise very classic look, but with a really cool kind of nuanced detail. So loved that. But just know going into it, you might want to use that tutorial, and it's a really pleasing tutorial to watch and just kind of watch it over and over again. I actually found myself, I had gotten it, I was good, but I just played it back just to kind of like listen as I was going, because it was very calming. So that is, that's what I have to say about the hemline. But in terms of everything else, I just really love it. I love the fabric. I love the rustic look. Typically, I would tell you I'm not a fan of a knit one, purl one rib because I feel like it looks sloppy. There's something about the ribs that just kind of have a little bit of a wonky look to them. But in this particular design, whatever that look is actually just working. It's just so cool. It kind of just adds to that really nice rustic hand knit nature of the sweater. So I don't know. I love it. I could gush about it for the entire episode, but what I'm going to do is just throw this on so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Okay. So it's a little dark down here. I think that's because of the color of the couch in my outfit. But I'm knitting the cropped version of the sweater. And this jumpsuit that I'm wearing it cinches in right at my natural waist. So right here, Yeah, so right here is my natural waistline, and of course this is pre-blocked. So these little tuliped scallops down here come just below my belly button. So I would wear this over a dress, over kind of a jumpsuit like this, over a pair of high-waisted jeans like that. I would definitely not, I mean, I don't even have low-rise pants of any sort, but this would not be worn in like the midriff capacity. So definitely over something to give it a little bit of a boho vibe, I guess you could say. But oh gosh, I love the way these fit. Yeah, we're experiencing those together, you guys. So the sleeves fit beautifully. It feels, and I'm looking down here to see it, it feels like, it doesn't feel loosey-goosey, but it feels comfy and cozy without being loosey-goosey. So, oh God. Can I just for a moment? Just take a minute. I'm gonna take a minute and look in the camera. Oh, it's so cute. So yeah, that is my tulip jumper. If you've been thinking about casting this on and you have the yarn for it, or you're prepared to invest in a sweater's quantity or whatever, I highly, highly recommend it. It's very enjoyable. And actually, too, a few people got in touch with me in the comments asking me about Hillesvåg yarn and the Tinda yarn and how I like it, and they've been considering it. So yeah, use this as an opportunity to try out a new yarn, a more rustic yarn. Maybe you're used to using more kind of like fine merino yarns, things that are more soft, and you're yet to try or venture out into something a little bit more rustic, like, you know, this Tinda Hillesvåg yarn, maybe Lopi, maybe a Nutiden, which is actually what Melody uses in the designs, and you can find the links to that particular yarn over in her pattern, so you can find that there. But this will be linked down below in the description box, and you can find it with a bunch of other really pretty, probably new to you yarns over on Isolde Teague's website. So Isolde Teague is a knitwear designer. She has a web shop called isolde.com. I believe. I'll link to it down below. And she sells Hillesvåg yarn there. So that's where I found this. And she has a great variety of other yarns too. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an excuse to try a new yarn, something more rustic than what you're used to, use this as that outlet, I guess you could say, because it's a really fun knit for a more rustic yarn. Or if you have mohair in your stash, or you know of a mohair that you want to try and pair it with something like this. I love the idea of a playdate project, something like a yarn you're used to, a tried and true, paired with something that's new to you, and having them work so beautifully together. But holy moly, you guys, I'm getting warm already. So this is definitely going to be a cold weather garment, but I don't want to take it off because I love it so much, but I gotta take it off because it's not even complete. But that's it. My tulip jumper by Melody Hoffman. I love it, you guys. All right, guys, I want to use this segment of the podcast today to pull a random winner from the Wool Needles Hands Year of Knits Make-Along 2021 Finished Object Thread. And that winner is going to receive this project bag by Trisha Wattenberger of Joy in the Stitches. So this is the Red Riding Hood project bag. Absolutely beautiful. It is the same size as the one I am using for my Habitation throw. So that's what you will be getting, however you will be getting it, in this adorable little Red Riding Hood print. Okay, so based on random number generator from the projects in the Finished Objects thread, I have landed on A.M. Smith Jones, or Am Smith Jones, and I landed on her finished, it was a finished long time work in progress. It is a Find Your Fade shawl, and it is beautiful. She did it for rainbow colors, and she did it with rainbow colors and scrap yarn, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'll pop a picture of it right here. So Am Smith Jones, congratulations. I would love to refer to you by your first name, but I don't see it here. But get in touch with me. Now, the best way to get in touch with me if you win a giveaway prize is to send me an email. So the email link is down below in the description box. Send me an email. That's the surefire way to get in touch with me. Let me know that you have won the prize for the podcast random selection, and I will get it out to you as soon as possible. So those of you that are on the fence about participating in the make-along, definitely do submit your whips, submit your foes over there on the Ravelry group so that I can share your project here on the podcast and so you can be put into the drawing for a prize at random intervals throughout the year. All right, guys, that is all I have time for today. Definitely be sure to keep posted to the Fiber for the People Presents YouTube channel. I upload once a week on Wednesdays and every other Sunday for the podcast. On Wednesdays, I upload my voiceover vlogs, and you can watch those here on the channel now. There are a few to watch. It's just a vlog series that I put together that has a very calm, mellow aesthetic that is pleasing and enjoyable to watch while you're cozy working on your projects. You can find those on Wednesdays, uploaded at noon, just like the podcast on Sundays, also uploaded at noon. And again, if you enjoyed yourself throughout this episode, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, click that bell icon. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend your time here with me. It means more than you know. I've had a great time chatting with you about my projects. Until episode 46 in 2 weeks, happy knitting, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Be well, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.